Hey, friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to. We've got the Monday Night Raw rundown on the episode today. A couple of interesting things happen, including AJ Lee's first promo since her return, and we're going to talk about that. And Jey Uso, what do we got? Like, with the most popular guy on the roster going heel, Larson?
I don't think so.
That was like a solo thing you just did right there.
That's what I was trying to do. Good. I'm happy you caught that.
I did. Anyways, but first, before that, there was kind of an interesting angle maybe set up, given that just yesterday we were talking about AJ Styles' potential last run in WWE or in wrestling. Evidently, afterwards, he's going to be hitting the convention circuit. Here's what they should do with AJ: podcast, a Fanatics podcast.
Yeah.
Remember he had the Twitch channel where he would just be, spilling story after story.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, it would be a AJ Styles podcast that's not associated with the WWE, corporate
machine
umbrella, because then it'd be a lot more like his Twitch streams where he just talk about whatever, as opposed to having to get clearance probably for various subject matter. Anyways, before his match against El Grande Americano, AJ Styles cut a promo during the commercial break where he laid out, if you will, a conspiracy.
I have questions.
Not flat Earth. Not flat Earth.
Yet. That's going to be his last run.
That could be. That's good. Yeah. Instead, he said, it seems like somebody's orchestrating something, so I'm all alone here. So I'm not in position to win. He mentioned that for the first time in his career, he's all by himself. He says Gallows and Anderson aren't here. Mia Yim's over on SmackDown. He says, somebody doesn't want me here.
Yeah, so it was during commercial break, so the international Netflix viewers get to see this. And not until this morning did WWE upload to their YouTube channel this AJ Styles, work shoot, whatever you want to call, new storyline.
Yeah.
When he says somebody doesn't want me here, first thought is management, Triple H, Nick Khan, or whatever, given that he feels the deck has been stacked against him here coming down to what might be a last run. Of course, he posted on Instagram just the other day an hourglass chock full of his logo, meaning, hey, his time isn't up. So, obviously, this is going to be a storyline for AJ Styles, but I love the way they introduce this, during the commercial break, during one of these promos, pretty much every time they have introduced or they've had promos during the commercial break, so the international Netflix crowd are privy to it, but the rest of us are, we have to log into the YouTube account. We have to go to the YouTube channel to watch them. It's a bunch of nothing,
Yeah.
It's like, hey, let's bring. One week they had like Trick and I think Javon on. They brought them in for one of these deals. It's usually filmed in that weird space, like near a box, near a suite or something like that, way up there in like the upper deck or whatever it is. Usually these things are a whole lot of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But this week this time he was in the ring. He wasn't up there in the, because he was about to have a match.
Before his match, yeah.
So what do you anticipate this story is going to look like?
I hope this is speculation, some fantasy booking, if you will. I don't know if this would be the case, but I think it'd be cool if it was. That rather than doing the I'm retiring, let's have the retirement tour like John Cena. Let's take a more interesting approach to somebody's last run. How about they're being forced out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The idea that they're battling against management to keep their spot, to keep their job, and fighting against that adversity to stick around. That'd be a different, interesting take on it. I guess, unfortunately, though, in the end, management would win because it would lead to him leaving the company. But along the way, it could be an interesting story and actually really help build AJ back up to a main eventer.
You would be kind of interesting as if they like booked a retirement ceremony for him, and he was not in on it. You know, I mean, dude, I like the idea. There's a number of ways they can, go about this. Dude, when I think of that type of thing, you think of the real world situation where, for example, I can think of two off the top of my head. Number one, when Daniel Bryan had his health issues. And Vince said, hey, you can't wrestle anymore, so we're going to have you retire on air. You're still under contract for a couple more years, so we're going to continue to use you as a GM in the GM position. But you're going to go out there and retire. And, Brian was thinking, well, I want to go get other options. I want to go look at other opinions. And they're like, no, we got you under contract, so you're going to retire. The other one is Ric Flair.
Yeah.
They were like, Flair, guess what? WrestleMania is coming up. This is Vince. WrestleMania is coming up, pal. You're going to retire there. And it's like, well, whether or not, the general fan base thought this, Flair thought he had plenty of matches left in him. And he did, because after his retirement, he went to TNA and he had a couple more matches.
Yeah, he wrestled quite a bit more, yeah.
A couple of bloody ones.
Yeah.
And then, 2 years ago, he had Ric Flair's last match, which that even remains to be seen if that was his last match.
It does. I mean, it was pretty close to being his absolute last match.
Yeah,
seemingly.
the Randy the Ram situation.
Yes.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think, that would be pretty interesting. What if they took more of a... I'm trying to think of the genre of movie, or if there's a movie specifically, but more of a Kafka-esque approach, where it's not necessarily management. It's this mysterious shadow figure that doesn't want him there anymore.
Yeah, it's not necessarily, personified per se. Yes, it's just this force that's bearing down upon him that is trying to push him out.
What if it's God? He's a religious guy, I think, and he's like, God doesn't want me in here anymore. Triple H is like, no, listen, man, it's your call. You get to decide. I don't decide. God decides. He doesn't want me here anymore, Hunter.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's weird. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I like that you're right. If this is the seeds of his retirement story, I'm kind of glad that they're making it into an actual story. And not simply, hey, guess what, guys? I got a year left, and I'm gonna do what John Cena did. I'm cool with that. I think I'm cool with them taking an actual story approach to it. But yeah, how do you get around the idea that management is eventually going to win, unless maybe that is the story of it. Eventually, management. I imagine Koski in the writers' room. Well, Triple H, in the end, the evil corporation always wins. That's the story. It ends on a bummer note.
Triple H lived there chewing his ice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sadly, in the world we live in, that is unfortunately more often than not the case.
Why not be honest? Why not tell a story that's honest? You get older, you get forced out, you become obsolete. Here's your gold watch. See you next time.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy the last 10 years of your life now that you're retired. Yeah, just a depressing ass story.
Yeah, just depressing story. Yeah.
They
eventually hit home with a lot of people though.
They eventually it's like, oh man, here's my list of people that I want to fight my last year, and he's like, how about Jackson Drake? You're gonna start going down. We're gonna send you to NXT. We're gonna
take on Swipe Right.
You're gonna take on Swipe Right.
You're gonna get an Evolve title shot against Jackson Drake.
Right, yeah. Maybe
the Swipe Right's going to cost you that.
Maybe some of the stars of LFG.
Yeah,
you can help put them over.
It's like, I'm not doing that, Hunter.
I ain't doing that, Hunter. I ain't doing it.
I'd rather go wrestle on my trampoline.
I'm gonna go wrestle for Real American Freestyle.
Well, let's pivot over to what we actually saw here in the States on Raw, and that was Jey Uso. So he's seemingly really taken to heart what Roman told him, which was essentially, don't help anybody else. You got to go out there and help yourself.
Yeah.
So in the opening segment, we had another long opening segment where the Usos come to the ring. Braun and Bronson interrupt. There's a back and forth. Usos say they have a match against Braun and Bronson at WrestlePalooza. Brawl breaks out. LA Knight comes to help the Usos, and it leads to LA Knight getting out of the way while Bronson Reed charges in, and he splashes Jey in the corner. So, like Jimmy's understands the situation, it was an accident. But given what's happened the prior weeks, Jey Uso, especially with Roman's voice in his head, saying, you got to look out for number one. He's thinking, all right, LA Knight's out to get me, or at the least, I owe him a receipt. I certainly don't owe him any help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we see that play out at the end where LA Knight has a match against Bronson Reed. After losing that, Jimmy comes to help LA Knight against Braun and Bronson. Braun and Bronson get the upper hand. Jey comes to help his brother after Jey, Jimmy, and LA Knight clear the ring. Jey then spears LA Knight. And then he says, now we're good. So, and during the show, Jey referenced what Roman said to him.
Mm-hmm. He said, you're starting to sound like Roman.
That's what Jimmy said to him, yeah.
Yeah.
So something tells me this isn't a situation where Jey's necessarily going to turn heel. He's gotten the taste of success, of being at the top of the mountain. And it might be starting to corrupt him a little bit because he wants to get back there. Yeah. And if we're going to see Jey show some facets of Roman because he so desperately wants to get that title back, that's going to add some interesting dimension to his character, a character a lot of people, not me and not you, found kind of one-dimensional. And it could lead to some interesting stuff, but I'm pessimistic to believe that one of the most popular wrestlers on Raw is going to just flat out turn heel.
I agree 1,000%. I think that this is probably long-term building the Survivor Series War Games team. That's my guess. And this is the first time, you and I have been whining about the lack of, oh shit moments across wrestling, across, down in Jacksonville and AEW as well.
Mm-hmm.
And WWE's lacked those like, oh my God, I did that last night with Jey Uso spearing LA Knight. I was like, oh shit. And Jey Uso has kind of evolved into, we mentioned this before. He's in his Midnight Vultures era where it's party time after the trauma of the bloodline stuff. Yeah. And so it's definitely easy to view him as having become a one-dimensional character because, he comes out and it's easy to say you're an entrance. Even on Unreal, Triple H was like, you're an entrance and you get gassed by the time you're in your match. And I mean, that's allegedly real shit. And so I agree with you in that I don't see this as, oh, he's a bad guy now. I see this as exactly like you're saying. Roman's in it. Roman gassing him up. Jey is feeling at the tribal chief level now. He's like, look, I got all these, and it's a remarkable evolution to where he's acknowledging he belongs. He deserves this. He has earned this. And up until Roman told him, you kind of didn't feel that.
Mm-hmm.
That
he didn't feel like
he didn't feel that.
Yeah.
All of his feuds with Gunther, it was always coming from a place where, Gunther, the supremely confident Gunther, would be running Jey Uso down as a catchphrase. And Jey kind of bought into it and it would get under Jey's skin. Now he's got the validation. It's remarkable. We didn't need the apology of the tribal chief, evidently. We just needed the tribal chief to say, hey, you're the guy now. Get yours. Nobody else matters a damn. And Jey took that to heart. After all this time, he still needs that validation. That was the missing ingredient. But what's it going to turn him into? What we saw last night is the first step in that process. So it could be that, hey, we're getting some of that complexity that we've asked for in the storyline, in the characters, because that was a moment it was like, oh shit, I didn't see that one coming. Usually all the good guys are very happy together and they got it going, and
they might have some
United
minor
Front.
beef, but they'll squash it to take on, the greater threat to them.
Sorry, I should have said the first step was really in that fatal four-way, because Jey couldn't get over what Roman told him. Get that title, and everybody is your enemy, as opposed to let's take out the guy from the Vision and then, no, everybody is your enemy. And I mean, it seemed like, at the outset, because did they announce that the Usos and the Bronze are going to be, they did announce that's the match for Palooza.
Yeah.
Okay, they did. Okay. Is it possible that this thing that's in his head now is going to poison his relationship with his brother Jimmy?
It's entirely possible. Yeah, it's entirely possible.
I love it because I think that would rejuvenate the Jey Uso character. It'd make him even more interesting. And what that means exactly for, his story going forward, I don't know. But I do sort of suspect that by the time we get to War Games, we'll probably then be on like, big pop for when they actually come together and sort of resolve whatever this is going on. But it's an interesting path for Jey Uso to take, and hopefully there's a couple of twists and turns which will continue to make us say, oh God, it seems less likely now that they're simply going to revert Jey and Jimmy to, hey, it's the tag team that we all knew and love, and they're going to be back as a tag team in the tag division.
Yeah.
This seems like more of, an actual character story between the two of them and whoever else might get involved in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It certainly seems that way, and I hope there is some decent twists and turns. And you got to assume at the end of the day that Jey is going to come to the realization that he could kind of have it both ways. He could still be successful as a single star and still look out for the people around him, because that's one thing Roman never learned, and still seemingly to this day that hasn't computed with Roman, that Roman, to get help, manipulated those around him. He didn't necessarily embrace them. He manipulated them. Whereas Jay's probably going to come to the realization, all right, I can be a champion and still not be a turd,
Yeah.
I can do both things.
Yeah. Yeah, I just hope it's a long road.
Yeah.
I hope that it's the path takes him, to some pretty gnarly depths. I think that because it's more interesting that way. It is. Anyways, we're going to talk about what I thought was an absolutely killer promo from AJ Lee last night. My God, what a breath of fresh air that was.
Yep.
And the rest of Raw here in a moment. But we do have a couple of sponsors for the show this week, so let's talk about them.
Let's do it. This episode of Going in Raw is sponsored by BetterHelp. Steve, we can turn to some unexpected places for advice, whether it's your local barkeeper, barista, or hairdresser. We've all probably turned to people in our communities to talk about what's on our minds.
That's true. And as productive as those conversations can be, when you're looking for help with your relationships, anxiety, depression, or other clinical issues, they may not provide the right answers. Instead, get some guidance from a credentialed therapist online with BetterHelp.
About 20 years ago, I had to go to therapy to get treatment for severe anxiety. And back then, looking for the right therapist could be a frustrating and time-consuming process. But BetterHelp does the initial matching work for you so you can focus on your therapy goals. All you have to do to get started is fill out a short questionnaire to identify your needs and preferences, and BetterHelp's 10-plus years of experience and industry-leading match fulfillment rate means that they typically get it right the first time. But if you aren't happy with your initial match, you can switch therapists at any time at no extra cost.
Plus, BetterHelp is completely online. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, so you can fit therapy into your busy schedule. And you can pause your subscription whenever you need to.
As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Find the one with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at BetterHelp.com/raw. That's BetterHelp. HELP.com/raw. And this episode is sponsored by Tempo. Steve, the kids are back at school, which means our schedule just got a whole lot busier. but it also means we have less time to plan nutritious meals for ourselves and our families.
That's right, man. But instead of turning to fast food, turn to Tempo. Tempo serves up fast, feel-good, single-serving meals, which takes all the guesswork out of eating well and are crafted to cook in just 3 minutes so you can fuel yourself without sacrificing your health or your valuable free time.
Tempo also offers up over 20 meal options each week, like braised red wine beef and Sunday sauce meatballs that are made with real, nutrient-rich ingredients, so it's easy to keep up with your healthy lifestyle. And as someone who needs to hit my protein goals every day, Tempo is a great option because they offer a range of meals for different dietary preferences, including fiber-rich, carb-conscious, and protein-packed options.
And for a limited time, Tempo is offering our listeners 60% off your first box. Go to tempomeals.com/raw. That's tempomeals.com/raw for 60% off your first box. tempomeals.com/raw. Rules and restrictions may apply.
And this episode of Going In Raw is sponsored by Brooklyn Bedding. Steve, how many times have I talked to you about feeling tired, lethargic, unenergetic, and just generally short on quality sleep? How often do I mention that to you?
I mean, pretty much every day, to be honest with you. It's a lot.
It is a lot. You know, as I've gotten older, the more I've learned to value and appreciate a good night's rest. Yet, with each passing year, it seems like I get less and worse sleep. Like half the time I wake up in the morning with something hurting. Yesterday with my neck, today is my back. You know, I'm not sure if it's a part of getting old or maybe me and my bed just aren't a good match.
Yeah, man, I don't know. Maybe Brooklyn Bedding can help you out, though. You see, Brooklyn Bedding knows that sleep isn't one size fits all, which is why they offer mattresses for every body and every sleep style. And if you're not sure what mattress is right for you, just take Brooklyn Bedding's sleep quiz, and you'll find your perfect match in under 2 minutes. We just went through that process with my kid Devin, and he's been sleeping like a log on the Aurora Lux cooling mattress that we got for him. But if he changes his mind with 120 nights, Brooklyn Bedding's comfort trial will allow him to return or swap it hassle-free.
So go to brooklynbedding.com and use our promo code RAW at checkout to get 30% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. That's brooklynbedding.com and promo code RAW for 30% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know that we sent you. brooklynbedding.com, promo code RAW.
All right, man. Let's talk about AJ Lee. She had a killer promo, but first, her return seems to be a really, really big success for the WWE.
Yeah, so the ratings for SmackDown came in. And they're up pretty huge over the previous week, up about 400,000 or 30-some%, I think I saw. So on the Friday, August 29th episode, got 1.147 million.
God, that was that low?
It was that low. So this past Friday, the September 5th episode, got 1.585 million.
Wow.
So up well over 400,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is. And the demo score, Friday the 29th of August, was 0.28, almost doubled.
Oh, wow.
0.51.
That's like that block of people that they really want to be watching. They don't really...
18 to 49, yep.
You know, if you're like in your 60s, they don't really care. They're like, what are these people are living?
It's that demographic that they say has the most disposable income.
Right. They've got all the money. These super old people, Social Security checks. They don't pay very much. It'll be even worse when we get to that age, by the way.
If we get any at all.
If we get anything. So yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. You know, I mean, the buzz was tremendous. It makes you wonder if they are going to, you know, when there is another return, big, small, whatever, Chris Jericho's coming back or whatever, if they would try to sort of, you know, there is something to be said about anticipation. You know, you can't build anticipation if you're really good at keeping a secret. And like nobody knows what's going to happen. Like after the fact, yeah, they'll be like, oh, wow, let's check this out and let's see what's going to happen. But like, if you get that sweet spot where it's like, oh man, seems like it's going to be her. I don't know. Might be, might not be, might be real. I don't know. And then it turns out, yeah, people are going to tune in. They're going to want to know what's going on.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
People want that collective experience, you know?
They do. And you know, that Punk promo last Monday, where, you know, he teased just very, very little that he's going to have something in store for last Friday's SmackDown.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty well done, and it evidently paid off in terms of the ratings last week on Friday. It's going to be interesting to see what the ratings for Raw are this week. You know, considering it's be the first time we hear AJ Lee talk, and to see if there's not that we'll necessarily know because it's on Netflix, but if Netflix says there's a bump, you know, on the viewership for Raw this week.
Yeah, whatever weird Netflix, viewership they count I don't know.
So speaking of AJ, she had a really great promo during Raw last night.
This was like, it was such a welcome departure and part of it is unique and can't be like captured on a week-to-week basis because she's reintroducing herself. And
yeah, that's part of it, and detailing her journey, post WWE back in 2015, how she came about making her return. But I think part of it is just her.
It felt so genuine.
She's got a genuine nature when she gets in the ring and talks. She's wildly charismatic.
Dude, we've talked about this to a degree before. There is something inherent in the experience of life, and this is, neither of us are big Goldberg fans, right?
No.
That being said, what he was able to do on the microphone in his later run with WWE versus like his WCW run, where they just gave him 2 words to say. Mm-hmm. It was always like, hey, you know what? It's just an old dude talking, and oftentimes just experience of life can give you more to dole out when you're doing a promo. And in AJ Lee's case, I always thought that she was good back when she was around. But you mentioned this yesterday when we were playing basketball. Crazy chick, quote unquote, under Vince McMahon. It never really felt like real. It was the strength of the performer who was able to get her own charisma in there. And now somebody who's, I think she's 38 years old. Mm-hmm. She just comes off as, hey, and as she illustrated in her promo, she's been through a bunch in her life. She's gone down, a road of experience, and that just inherently shows in the delivery.
Mm-hmm. It does. Going back to the Goldberg example, I think part of it is life experience, but also he did a lot of MMA commentary after he left WWE.
Oh, I think sure, yeah.
Speaking on camera probably benefited his promo ability during his second run. Mm-hmm. With AJ, like they had a video package before her promo, and it had his clips, but still, there was always a comfort she had on the mic. What?
Isn't it? Sorry, this is just a brief aside. Isn't it kind of funny how like people who used to not be like grade A promos can sort of like, you get that experience in life, you come back and hey, holy shit, you're a really good promo. But like the people who are able to talk back in the day, they sort of get more boring. As like Edge. Edge was always a good talker. Like once he became the Rated R superstar, and now it's just I'm old, And there's kind of a weird thing
there can be a weird kind of juxtaposition there. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. Like Cope has kind of reduced his character to grit and nothing more. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like I persevered. All right, cool. That's great. You had to retire for 10 years. You came back because you put your mind to it and you made it happen. Awesome.
Yeah.
What else is there? Whereas AJ comes back here and in the span of 5 minutes, really eloquently and with a lot of charm and a delivery that feels 1,000% genuine, this kind of says, this is why I left. This is what I went through while I was gone. This is why I came back. And she did it with emotion and humor.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was everything.
And the reason why earlier I had said this might be a unique situation because it's her return, it's her reintroduction. Because once you get thrown into the storylines of soap opera pro wrestling, then you have to talk about shit that we all know isn't real and isn't genuine. And I'm sure that she will still succeed because, you see somebody else, her, husband, CM Punk. Like, when there's good material to work with the story, goddamn, he can still absolutely bring it. And I'm sure she will. But there was something just very unique and compelling about her story in the real world and her journey back to pro wrestling.
I thought her pivot from talking about her personal journey to the storylines playing out on TV was pretty well done.
Me too.
And there was no change in delivery.
Right. Yeah.
Really. And the same emotion and humor and charm was there, talking about her personal journey versus talking about what was playing out on TV.
Yeah.
And it was such a seamless transition.
Yeah.
From talking about her journey. A therapy chant breaks out for her.
That was great.
That was awesome.
That was surreal. That honestly was surreal. And then when Becky is like, I might have to go to therapy, and then AJ says, it really works, and the crowd starts chanting it again.
Yeah.
It was just, she just brings a breath of fresh air to the proceedings, and it filters out into the crowd. Even the opening line, when she says, for those who weren't here 10 years ago and were confused why your millennial parents were very excited, let me introduce myself. My name is AJ Lee.
She says, I'm your favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler.
Yes. And it was delivered with such charm, and it just wasn't, back when she was around before, like everybody, you're playing a character. Now she gets to show up and be herself. And it's still a character we see on television, but obviously informed by who she is, which is the sweet spot. That's like the good stuff right there. And so I thought that was a really great line. She mentions, I went and accomplished all those other dreams. More importantly, I went on a mental health journey. I needed to take care of myself, get right. I went to therapy. And then the crowd started chanting therapy, and she stopped and said, yeah, cheer for therapy. It was so cute. It was just really, really like you said, charming is the word. Mm-hmm. She says, I was doing good with my mental health for a long time, and then I watched Raw.
Yeah, like she says, and look, the process isn't linear,
Yeah, she should have said, and then I watched one of those Smackdowns that Road Dogg is booking.
Yeah.
And my mental health went off a cliff.
And she says, it's one thing to see your husband fighting Drew or Seth or John Cena, but it's another thing to see him in the ring with Becky Lynch. And she talks about, she says, I wanted to like her. I think we have a lot in common. She's a leader, a rebel, a New York Times best-selling author. She goes, well, I did first. But she says there's a world in which her and I would have been friends. And then she had to go and motorboat my husband.
That number one, and we cannot. What's great about this is that you've got Punk, who, and I don't know what Punk's like in his real life, but he doesn't present right now as a flamboyant character. Maybe one day if he goes heel, he will be. But,
if anything, he's a bit too subdued.
And that's a criticism that you've levied towards him. Like, oh, he's happy to be here. It's a you people babyface. And so maybe AJ will unlock a little bit of the charm of a real person, because there isn't,
This is like a mixed match challenge type situation, hopefully.
Yeah, right.
Because even the dynamic between Becky and Seth last night, I thought was really good.
Well, that's the great juxtaposition here. It's the counterpoint. Becky's so fucking over the top and Seth is ridiculous, but that's why it works. You've got these fucking crazy ass people that are just they understand the assignment. They understand that level of like unhinged like villainy works perfectly against, especially, I don't want to get too deep into this, but you got what seems like just absolute chaos around you, and you're just trying to be a regular person, and that's sort of like the heart of this feud right here. And there's some real world parallels that we all go through. And so yeah, you know, the motorboating stuff with Becky is fucking hilarious. It's weird, and like great, they could be weird, those people, you know? It's
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And so like Becky's like slapping around motorboating him, and AJ's like, yeah, she motorboated my husband. What's that all about?
Yeah.
It's like those unhinged people you see on TikToks, you know, going crazy over stupid shit.
Yeah. So Becky's music hits. She comes out and she's like, has nobody noticed what's going on here? She has my title. That's my title.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention. She came out wearing the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, the Intercontinental Championship. And so Becky does the thing saying, I'm the greatest female wrestler of all time. It's just not me saying it. Sports Illustrated, Chicago Tribune, even the Milwaukee Journal. She says, I'm going to need to go to therapy after this. And that's when AJ says, it works, I swear. She says, I can give you some names. And she goes, this is embarrassing. I completely forgot I was wearing this. I've just been skipping around the house all weekend, slept with it last night. Things kind of got weird when I was getting dressed. And Becky says, get your hands off my title. And then AJ says, oh, you got quite the shiner there. Was that me? Was that one of my tiny fists of fury? She says, I'm sorry, but since you're the greatest of all time, why don't you come and get the championship?
Yeah.
And so the crowd starts chanting chicken at Becky. Becky says, I'm not a chicken. She says, I've already had to bathe and bleach after touching your greasy husband, which, by the way, where is he? What kind of man hides behind his wife? This had nothing to do with you before you got involved. It had everything to do with my husband and our life, our plans, and our vision. Let me bring out a proper man, a proper champion. Let's get my hot husband out here. So Seth makes his entrance. And so he comes out and says, all right, this is simple. Give her back the title, and we can all leave this dump of a city as soon as possible. Very simple, easy breezy. And AJ says, you want your title back? Good idea. I didn't think of that. But I think I have a better idea. We have two options. Becky, you come in here and get it, but you risk getting a second black eye, or I'll give you this title if you agree to a tag match. So her and Punk versus Becky and Seth. She says, pick your poison. And Seth says, you know, you've been gone for a while. Let me explain things. I'm the world champion. This is my show. You've been back for a cup of coffee. You don't call the shots. I call the shots. I'll come in. I'll take that title, and you'll give it back. And AJ says, thanks for mansplaining. People love that. And so Seth gets the ring at that point and takes a step towards the title. Well, AJ steps in front of him. Seth moves to his left. AJ steps in front of him. Seth takes a step to his right. AJ moves in front of him. And so he says, this doesn't belong to you. Sorry, Becky says, this doesn't belong to you. That's my title. So then Punk appears behind Becky. He walks up the ramp wearing an AJ shirt. Mm-hmm. And it gets in the ring, picks up Seth for a GTS. Seth escapes. AJ's laughing. So Seth then, I love this. So Seth is crazy on the floor, and Becky has a mic in her hand. So she throws it on the ground, and so it's right in front of him. So he picks it up and says, hey, you want a match? You got a match. WrestlePalooza. You're both done for.
Yeah.
So Becky goes ballistic. She's pissed. AJ chucks the belt out of the ring towards them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really well done. It was really
yeah.
Well done.
It really is. Everybody's having fun, and that's the best. Especially Becky and Seth. They're able to just go all out and be crazy and goofy, and act like entitled brats. And it works. Their chemistry is so good. Mm-hmm. The chemistry is so off the charts good with them. This is something really fun they got going on right now.
It is.
Before we continue with the Raw review, man, it's September. Got our predictions challenge. Still have no idea if this weekend. I'm just guessing. Like, we haven't heard from Cody. I don't think you've emailed him.
No, we got to do that.
I don't know if we're going to have a predictions challenge this weekend, but definitely on the 20th.
We got a little time. We got time left to get that up. So
and the Palooza. But yeah, the way you get in on the predictions challenge is be a channel member by clicking join right here, youtube.com/Steve Larson, or going to patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Also, we just put up a new bonus episode last week, It's the Hilton Shoot interview. Everything you ever wanted to know about Hilton.
I'll be honest. I feel like we just kind of scratched the surface.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We would need, I think, at least 3 to 4 hours to really get some answers.
That's how long the Hilton Ken Burns documentary would be, 3 to 4 hours?
No, if it's the Ken Burns thing, it'd be 12 hours, of course.
Oh, okay. Like 4 3-hour episodes?
No, it wasn't. Usually they're like just 12 1-hour episodes or whatever, aren't they?
Honestly, I don't know. I think it was a variety of formats.
Yeah, I think it just kind of depended on what PBS wanted him to do.
You ever watched the country music one?
Mm-mm.
Really good. Like, I watched the first 5 hours or so.
Yeah.
Because I don't really care about modern shit.
Mm-mm.
But, like, the early stuff is fucking fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways. So, yeah, that's available now. The Hilton the Hilton Shoot interview. That's available now.
Part 1.
Part what? Apparently part 1. I don't know. I want to do it again. Part 1. And then
I kind of feel like we have to do it again because people are convinced that it was all AI. The three of us are in a room. There's no argument then that Hilton isn't real.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get the three of us in the same room then.
All right.
Let's plunk down here, get some laughs,
Yeah. Yep.
have some laughs.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, the Hilton Shoot interview part 1 is available right now. We did like a bonus episode the month prior as well. We have not talked about what the next bonus episode is going to be. We can't do like back-to-back Hiltons though. We can't do that.
No. I'm sure there'll be something that pops up that'll.
Like an annual Hilton thing is what we should do.
Yeah, I think once a year. Once a year is good. Talking to him once a year is about right.
That's about good. Yeah, I'm good with that. So yeah, become a member of the Friendo Club by doing that. Also, we've got ourselves new merch at friendoshop.com. We got a new basketball jersey in the Friendo Club. It's we're starting to approach the season of cool weather, so I might start unleashing the hoodie / sweatpants.
Oh, the all over print,
combos,
huh?
The all over print stuff. I am curious if we will sell even one set of those that isn't me, because I'll probably buy them. But
if it looks sharp, I'll get some.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Or if it's comfortable. Heck, if it's comfortable.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, according to you here, we got the Usos versus Braun and Bronson booked for WrestlePalooza.
So this was a long segment. So,
and, dude, none of it really.
Yeah, I know. Pretty much it's the Usos coming down through the crowd. They get to the ring. They do the Yeet Encore. They get interrupted pretty quickly by Braun and Bronson. They talk some shit. And it leads to the Usos saying, we talked to Adam Pearce. And we got a tag match at WrestlePalooza.
Yeah.
And so says there's that. And then Bronson says, not tonight, Milwaukee. You don't get to see this match. So LA Knight attacks Braun and Bronson, throws Breakker into the barricade, throws some shot at Bronson Reed. Braun takes him down. The Usos rush in and hit stereo dives on Braun and Bronson. They start punching on Bronson Reed in the ring. Braun gets super kicked, and then Bronson splashes Jey on accident as Knight moves out of the way. And so then it ends with Jey and LA Knight arguing. Jimmy just trying to separate them.
Let me ask you this real quick.
Sure.
Let's say that my initial thoughts on the Jey Jimmy LA Knight thing are right, and that's going to be sort of the seeds for War Games.
Mm-hmm.
You got those three guys, and then probably CM Punk, since it's all involved in the division.
Yeah.
Let's say that's Team War Games.
Yeah.
Then you got Seth Braun Bronson.
Oh, who's the fourth?
Who's the fourth guy there?
I mean, I doubt Paul Heyman's going to suit up again for. Remember, he was
That'd be sick. Yeah,
him and Ryback against Punk in Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell, yeah.
What is that? She'll have 2+ months. Maybe they'll bring in another member. Maybe it'll be, I don't know, Ricky Saints. Should be.
Oh, yeah. They could bring in, they could
bring in somebody new.
Yeah, that could be.
Or bring in somebody that has beef with someone else on the other team.
Yeah, I was trying to think of that, but like they've all been kind of feuding amongst each other for a while. Unless it's like, who is Solo feuding with right now for that U.S. title? Oh no, he
Sammy.
lost it. Yeah, he just lost it to
Sammy.
Sammy. Yeah. Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll bring somebody. Maybe they'll bring somebody else in.
Yeah, it's possible.
Drew's over there on SmackDown. That wouldn't make a lick of sense.
Maybe they bring in Gunther because Gunther wants a piece of Jey after losing the title to him.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
Well, I guess Gunther already got it back though, so kind of a moot point.
And then Gunther, yeah, well, he would maybe want that title back from Seth. So him.
Yeah, it doesn't make it. But maybe he wants to get a piece of Punk since Punk beat him for the title.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Is Logan Paul on one brand or another? He's just on SmackDown.
SmackDown, yeah.
How about this? Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll joins the Vision.
Oh, wow.
Bro.
Jelly Roll sees the vision.
Him and Post Malone had a set at the VMAs.
Yeah.
Dude, I was looking at the YouTube channel for MTV, the VMAs. I didn't fucking know a single soul except for those two fools, and that's only because of WWE. Well, I knew obviously who Post Malone was pre-W, before he got involved with WWE.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, like I recognize some of the names, but I'm like, and the view numbers were so fucking low.
Yeah.
Except for when Mariah Carey did a little bit, those view numbers were huge.
On YouTube or the actual television numbers?
On YouTube.
Gotcha. I was kind of surprised because, historically the VMAs always aired on MTV, but I think this is the first year they aired on CBS.
I don't know if it's the first year, but I noticed that as well. It was on CBS. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, whether it's the first year or not, I guess it's
a
huge shift. And if they did that and the numbers were.
I'm not speaking to anything beyond me not tuning into current culture. But I guarantee you, this was the 90s, and I was my age now. My dad in the 90s, he fucking knew everybody. You turn on the VMAs back in 1993, my dad would be like, "Oh yeah, I know who that is." You know what I mean? What?
The viewership was actually pretty good, 5.5 million.
Well, anything on CBS is gonna do pretty good. Doesn't the Super Bowl get 150 million?
Yeah, Super Bowl.
I'm just saying. I feel like the penetration of the Video Music Awards now ain't what it used to be. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
No, they never got 5.5 million viewers before, so
because it was only on MTV. Maybe it did. I don't know.
At one point MTV was it was the zeitgeist, I'm
gonna see if I can find this actually. Okay, come on, I just want the ratings, viewership. Here, why don't you talk about something so we're not.
All right, sure. We're both not typing. So, following that opening segment, we're backstage. Adam Pearce, LA Knight are arguing.
Okay, hold on. Sorry. August 29th, 2011. VMAs score biggest audience since '93. 12 million.
All right, so 5.5 ain't shit.
And I think that's probably 2011. It was still just on MTV.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. In '93, it definitely was just on MTV.
Oh, I know that for a fact. Yeah.
So Pierce walks off. We get a promo, I think, from LA Knight or an interview. It's safe to assume that we're talking about what I need, but all I hear is a tag match at WrestlePalooza. The Usos and the Vision, I care about their family reunion. I want what's mine. You think I moved to let Bronson splash you on purpose? He says, talking about Jey. Says, if you think I would stab you in the back, no, but I'd do it to your face. We have no problem, but if you want to make it one, I'm not hard to find. What I want is one of the Brawns. Give me any of them. Give me LeBron, Little Brondy, Charles Bronson. I don't care if I win or lose. I just want to stomp the living piss out of them. Yeah. So then later on, we have AJ thanking Dragon Lee. More on that later. Backstage, Jimmy comes up, says, hey. He notices Jey leaving. He's like, what are you doing? And Jey says, I'm out. I don't need to be here. And Jimmy's like, well, what about the plan? Braun says, Reed, LA Knight, he's going to need our help. Jey says, I don't give a damn about LA Knight. He tried to get me out there. Helping him won't get us to WrestlePalooza and damn sure won't get me my title back. I'm going to make sure they all acknowledge us or we're going to smash him. And then that's when Jimmy says, you're sounding a lot like Roman. And Jey says, well, maybe sound like myself ain't working. So he walks off.
What a great line. What a fucking great line that is. That's actually really good writing.
Maybe sounding like myself
ain't working. Oh, that's good.
It is good. So then later on, LA Knight and Jimmy are backstage. And Jimmy's like, that was an accident, right? And LA Knight says, you kidding me? I moved out of the way and thought Jey was coming with, and he didn't move. And so Jimmy says, okay, I know you have beef, but we got a vision problem. And LA Knight says, we know, because every time you get involved, something happens. Last world title match, actually, it was Jey who super kicked me and cost me my shot. You want to do your best to help? Don't help.
Yeah. So we had that match. And because of Braun Breaker's distraction shenanigans, Bronson Reed was able to win with a Jagged Edge, which is a DVD.
Death Valley Driver, yeah.
Yeah. And then afterwards, Breaker and Reed start stomping out Knight. Jimmy Uso comes down to help. He eats a spear from Braun Breaker. They beat up on Jimmy some more. Reed hits a senton on Jimmy after they send LA Knight out. Jay's music hits. He comes down, super kicks Reed, goes after Braun Breaker, super kicks gets a spear from Breaker. Reed heads up. Breaker sets him up for a tsunami. Knight appears with a steel chair, hits Reed with it, and Breaker fends them off. And he's like, come on in now, goading them. He goes over to Jey. He's like, hey, we good? And Jey kind of, he nods a little bit, I think. He walks over to Jimmy, and they shake hands. They're good. And then LA Knight just walks into the TV direction was great because you don't see Jey loading this up. He just from off camera comes into frame, hits a spear onto LA Knight. And Jimmy's confused, wants to check on him, but Jay's like, no, we got to go. So yeah, I like that. I hope they explore that even further,
Same. So apparently there was supposed to be a contract signing between EO and Stephanie Vicaire last night on Raw, but Stephanie couldn't make it because she was under the weather. So Pierce was breaking that news to EO. So then Nikki Bella walks up, and he says, don't worry about it. Contract signing is not happening, but the match at WrestlePalooza is still on. And Nikki's like, all right, cool. So then Asuka and Kyrie walk up to them, and Nikki says, I was in the middle of a conversation. Asuka says to her, stay away from EO. You have nothing to say to her. And Nikki says, you don't have to like me, but you will respect me. And Asuka says, respect? How about I beat the respect out of you tonight? And Nikki says, you're on. And then so Asuka leaves, and again, Kyrie is like trying to smooth things over with people, and Asuka just yells at her to come on.
Asuka's my absolute favorite thing about Raw right now. She's fucking hilarious as asshole Asuka.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie. So we have that match, and Asuka ends up getting the clean win over Nikki Bella.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of appreciate that. Like, Nikki Bella, kind of a big deal. She's just part of the roster, chilling now, and she just takes, she could take a loss or two, and it's all good. It's just the depth is fucking crazy in the women's division, dude.
Wow.
The depth is insane. Fucking crazy. She ends up getting locked up in the Asuka lock.
Yeah, tapping out.
And tapping out. So afterwards, Nikki, frustrated, is walking backstage. Asuka taunts her and says, what happened to you exactly what Io's going to do to Vicaire. And Nikki gets pissed off about this and says, you ready for round 2? I'm ready. Let's go. And Asuka's down. Kyrie tries to break it up. Nikki slaps her. Rhea walks in. She's like, hey, oi, do we have a problem here? And Asuka says, yeah, 2 problems. She says, I warned you. I'm the top woman in WWE. And it looked like Rhea wanted to laugh.
Yeah.
But she held it together and said, isn't it your friend? Or she says, isn't that your friend Io who's fighting for the belt? Or did you forget? So Asuka gets pissed off, storms off. Kyrie stands there. Kyrie! She said, do we have a problem? Yeah, I got 2 problems.
That was good. I know. Her delivery is so good.
Asuka's absolutely a menace.
She's great.
It's fantastic.
So we referenced AJ Styles talking to Dragon Lee. It's because Dragon Lee came out to help AJ thwart El Grande Americano, specifically El Grande Americano Dos.
Yeah.
I was trying to determine if it was Tyler Bate because it didn't seem whoever was under the mask last night didn't seem to be moving quite like Tyler Bate.
Dude,
especially when they bumped on the outside.
All you got to do is look at the thighs. This was Pete Dunne.
Oh, it was Pete Dunne.
Yeah, no, the thighs were clearly not Tyler Bates.
I don't know. Just the way they were bumping and moving wasn't necessarily reminiscent of either of them, but maybe.
Okay, so like, dude, I think it was Pete Dunne. I'll get on Twitter because usually like Twitter knows.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, and I didn't know if it was like my Netflix or something. But when he takes like the head scissors out to the on the outside,
yeah.
It seemed like it was undercranked because it was really fast.
I know there's a lot more theatrical in terms of the selling of stuff.
Yeah, and I was wondering, okay, maybe Pete Dunne. I mean, now he's going to be a producer in AAA. Pete Dunne is. Ugh. So like, so maybe he was listed as a producer along with I forget the rest of them, but that was the name that stood out.
Interesting.
So I don't know, maybe he's like up in his lucha style a little bit. I don't know.
Could be.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was Pete Dunne. I'll look into it really quick though.
Okay. So we had a great finishing sequence here. So as mentioned, Dragon Lee comes out and thwarts El Grande Americano Dos. So Americano, Ludwig Kaiser's looking for a power bomb, but then AJ pulls out his mask to escape. This is when Dragon Lee comes out and takes out Americano Dos. So then we have a roll-up from El Grande Americano. Gets a 2 there, but then AJ rolls through, hits the Styles Clash to get the win. And then AJ thanks Dragon Lee afterwards. They hug in the ring, which leads us to what we saw later on. And AJ says, hey, I'm happy I had some help out there. Thank you. So I guess it's kind of references what he said in this promo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then we had a segment backstage that led to a match between Rusev and Penta. So Penta and War Raiders are back there, and they say they'll have Penta's back whenever. So Penta and Pierce go for a walk, and Penta says, since I came to WWE, everybody here loves Penta. Why don't you love Penta? And then Adam Pierce says, what? Of course I do. I'm impressed. So Penta says, be honest. Give me a title shot because I'm going to be a champion. So then Rusev walks up and says, Pierce, you don't follow the plan, the will, the execution. I came to Raw. I crushed Sheamus. Rusev becomes champion. He says, don't worry about playing with clowns, referencing Penta. And then Penta says talks to him in Spanish. And then Pierce is like, just go work it out in the ring.
Yeah, Penta was fucking hilarious here.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's totally Pete Dunne.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me ask you something, Adam. When Penta comes to Raw, everyone loves Penta. Why you know love Penta?
Yeah. It was pretty great. And then Rusev rolls up.
Low-key Penta's fucking hilarious.
Rusev rolls up and says, you don't follow the plan. I come to Raw. I crush Sheamus. I become champion.
That was great too.
It was great.
I crush Sheamus. I become champion. Pierce. I come to Raw. Everyone loves Penta. Why
so this leads to a match. Penta can't hit the Destroyer. He gets close. The code red. Rusev kicks out of that. Rusev then calls for the Destroyer, but New Day are ringside. So Woods gets on the apron. Penta kicks him off, and then Penta leaps off the top right into a Mashka kick, and then Rusev covers to get the win.
Why you know love Penta? Everyone loves Penta. Why you know love Penta? Oh man, he's so good. After that, we had. Were you surprised by this? Lyra Valkyria just took a straight up loss. No cheese. No,
little bit.
Yeah, she just took. I'm actually really happy for Raquel Rodriguez because, like, I don't know. I feel like as much as they book her as the powerhouse of the Judgment Day, like she's not booked strong enough.
It was a really fun match. That spot where Lyra was trying to do that sunset flip powerbomb off the top was great. But, I guess for once we have a match where someone works a body part. In this case, Raquel was working Lyra's lower back. Her back gave out, and it led to her losing, like, directly.
And it was like, her strategy didn't end up working. You can't go. It's like, it's whenever somebody goes like on the top turnbuckle in the Royal Rumble or they elect to go to the apron. It's like, that's bad strategy. That should not work. You go up top, you're going to get caught with a Tahana bomb, Yeah. I appreciate that. It shouldn't always be, they're pushing this person, they should win. it's like, well, maybe sometimes they can get caught using strategy that backfires on them. And I think that's how it should be more often.
Yeah. Yep. So Raquel gets the win. We're going to have a bit with Judgment Day later, but first we get a Bailey video package where she apologizes to Lyra for getting her involved in all this. And so, she's talking to camera at first, and then she looks to one side and says, well, I did hurt a lot of people, but they deserved it. So then she looks to the other side. And, it's the devil on one shoulder and the angel on the other is what's going on here.
Yeah.
And so she asks for forgiveness, and then all the voices yell at her, and she just says, I'll make it right.
And you got to wonder if maybe this loss from Lyra is part of a bigger story that's going to obviously involve Bailey. So we also had a Judgment Day backstage. Finn celebrating Raquel's win. Dom walks in. He's like, where you been? Dom says, man, I'm thinking about my match at Worlds Collide. And Finn's like, oh, I thought you were with your new friend El Grande Americano. And JD's like, so were you?
JD
Finn's
was
like,
pretty funny in this because he's like, so were you?
Yeah, he was, yeah. Finn says, we're all back here wondering what's going on with this Americano business. And I've been around long enough to know that you don't help someone without wanting something back in return. JD says,
no free lunches.
No free lunches. Dom says, it's a lucha thing. You wouldn't understand. Maybe I wouldn't need help if you didn't get banned from ringside. And then he storms off. And Roxanne says, I'll go talk to him. And Raquel's like, the fuck? What? So, yeah, pretty entertaining Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, it was.
Pierce, I come to Raw. Everybody love Penta. Why you no love Penta?
Pierce, you don't follow the plan. I crush Sheamus. I become champion. Gosh, that was so good. All right, let's do some questions here. Luis says, is Steve reviewing watching Collision away for going in Raw for apologizing to us friendos because obviously Larson and Google Docs Wizard clearly colluded. There was no collusion.
Wait, is it my way of apologizing?
This question.
What the fuck do I have to apologize about?
Sense. No, it doesn't make any sense.
I got screwed by the collusion also. So I'm not apologizing to anybody.
There's no collusion.
No, I just, you know what, man? Here's the thing, dude. I enjoy wrestling, not the act of it. I enjoy watching wrestling.
Yeah.
And so if I'm going to sit here at my desk on a Monday morning and I'm putting together some finagles, I look, I got another monitor right here. I got a computer right here. I'm going to turn it on, see what's going on, and I do think there is some validity, even though you and I understand, if there's 11% of the matches on an AEW pay-per-view are going to be built on Collision. I get the point of view. It's like, hey, maybe keep an eye on what's going on over there. So when you talk about stuff, you can talk about it.
We watch Collision 11% of the time then.
Yeah, I'll watch it again in like 10 weeks or whatever. Or maybe I'll start watching 11% of Collision.
Yes,
I don't know.
Something like that, yes.
Look, like I said, it's not going to be a weekly thing. It might be a weekly thing. I don't know. I'm not committing. Sometimes, dude, that's why part of me, I always feel like kind of pressure. Well, obviously, this is our moneymaker. This is how we pay our bills, right? At Friendo Club, I don't feel a ton of pressure on that one, although, it's mounting a little bit. It's like, hey, let's be a bit more aggressive with that. But Wrestle Juice, it's like, I ain't got to clear that with anybody. If I wanted to take an entire week off, I can. Sometimes I just like something where I don't have to commit to it. And that's going to be Collision. It's like, you can watch it if you want. I can watch it if I want. If one of us watches it, why not talk about it? So that's how I feel about Collision. I probably won't do that with NXT, though. I don't know why. NXT, it just doesn't do anything for me. Let's see here. Caden says, he says, you guys definitely have had this question before, but would you guys ever be interested in doing a fun wrestling WCW or whatever thing again? That was hilarious back in the day. Not on a regular basis, but I have thought about, like, if there are months where we don't have like several watch-alongs to do, hey, maybe you can come on over here. We can do one of those. But it's not something that we've ever discussed.
Let's see here. Shavon here says, who would you guys think would get a A24 style biopic first, Eddie Guerrero or Kurt Angle?
Oh, you'd think Eddie because he passed. That would be my guess.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Eddie's story, I hate saying this. I'll put it this way then. I would be more interested in an Eddie biopic than a Kurt Angle biopic.
Yeah, because it seems like the possibility could exist, depending on who was making it, that the Kurt Angle one would just follow along with a lot of the typical sports movie tropes.
I feel like exploring the lucha libre culture that Eddie Guerrero came up in, to me personally, I would be more interested in that as opposed to collegiate wrestling or whatever.
Winning a gold medal with the broken freaking neck.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's cool and everything. That's badass. I love Kurt Angle. I think he's an all-timer.
Absolutely.
But I would be more interested. I'm always more interested in stuff. I think that's one reason why the Iron Claw didn't really do much for me, because we knew those stories inside and out. And so you just start thinking to yourself, well, it didn't really happen this way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the performances were good, but also like to get that little dude from the Bear to be Kerry Von Erich, that was wild to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Nate Cruz here says, if LeBron and Bronny formed a tag team, what finisher would you give them?
What's a shout to another father or son?
I was going to say something like the Shaker Heights Spike, because it's like a dunk.
Can't beat that one. Dave Matushek says, Wardlow got injured again.
Yeah, that sucks. Apparently tore his pec.
Yeah, what the fuck?
That's terrible. Out for what, a year and a half? Comes
Probably.
back, instantly hurt again. That sucks.
Yeah. He says, what other wrestlers past and present have had bad luck when it comes to returning from injury only to get hurt shortly after? This is just one of those memory questions, David. We don't like memory
Punk
questions.
in AEW.
There you go. Punk in AEW.
Broke his foot, came back, was back for like a month. Tore his tricep.
Yeah.
Let's see. Jacob Underwood here says, thinking back to the build to SummerSlam, what we've seen since, how much is the PLE every 3 week or Saturday Night's Main Event hurting the overall product? All these stories seem random and rushed. I just think it puts Triple H in a position where he has to book feuds rather than stories, because he's got a bunch of cards to fill.
I think you might be right about that. I don't think it's an impossible task, but I think it probably makes it more difficult.
Yeah.
Old Cheese says, who are your AJ dream opponents? There's 2 AJs right now. This guy does not specify.
I'm guessing AJ Lee.
I mean, dude, pick anybody on the roster. I'm not talking shit about this question, but I'm saying that's how loaded it all is right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, talk about somebody else who's nothing but charm, Asuka. Like, especially now that she's an asshole. Asuka versus AJ Lee.
Great.
That'd be great. That's my number one right there.
My number one might be Roxanne.
Oh.
I think that'd be awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. They're like best friends, though. They're like posting all sorts of pictures together on social media.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably several. I think Lyra posted a picture of her and AJ.
Oh, and AJ, yeah.
When Lyra was really young. So there's like a bunch of that potential for like people who are like, oh, I came up on you, inspired me to do this, but now I see you in person and you're crap. That kind of story. Here we go. Jules says, what's been your favorite walkout ring attire, your entrance attire? They bring up Mil Muertes doing Dr. Doom. It's hard to beat that.
Yeah, that's really good. Gosh, but there's so many examples.
Ospreay always has really good stuff.
Yeah. Like you could probably think of 12 different things the New Day has worn as entrance attire and be like, that's awesome.
Well, he's saying this year.
Oh, this year? Okay.
I'm going to say also Mercedes Monet's cape train gown, whatever it is.
At Forbidden Door?
Yeah.
When Drew McIntyre had to wear that Doom shit.
Oh, okay. Let's go to the other side then. War Raiders. They
Yeah.
did the Clash of Clans. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so.
What was Drew wearing?
It's from Doom, I think.
Oh, Doom. That's right. It was Doom. Yeah.
That's the best.
That was horrible.
This is a great question. Phantom Driver here says, if you were given a choice to be on any game show, what would it be? Match Game 75, honestly. If it's any game show in space and time.
All right. What's our Family Feud team?
Me, you, Hilton.
Okay, yeah.
Dope.
Dope.
And then bring Kaufman out?
Oh, Kaufman would be fun. He's younger. He knows shit.
Yeah.
I was going to say Adam Mayhem.
Oh, Cal. Have Cal.
Cal would be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meatloaf. name a meal that's like great as a leftovers. Meatloaf.
Hey, is that Pop Culture Jeopardy still on Amazon?
Lasagna.
I think so. I'd love to be on Jeopardy at some point. I tried out for Rock and Roll Jeopardy a couple times.
Man, I get so much anxiety watching these people with the shit because you have to wait until
That's the hardest part.
They're done with the question and then be like, duh. Oh, and you have to know the shit. That's hard, man. Mm-hmm. That's hard. Yeah, but fucking Family Feud. Oh, that'd be so much fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd be wildly fun. And then you could be like the one guy. It would be me that would have like I'd dole out an answer. And there'd be like silence, and then somebody nice on my team would be like, "Hey, you know what? Good answer. Good answer." It's like, no, it sucked.
Oh, goodness gracious. Finn Gardner here says, Kaiser is great as El Grande, but does portraying that character give him a ceiling if he goes back to being Ludwig Kaiser?
Well, let me ask you this. What year do you think we're going to see Ludwig Kaiser again?
2026, because I think once Chad Gable comes back from injury, we might have a feud between Americanos.
I'd be shocked if we saw him before 2027. He is so fucking over. He is so popular. And they're definitely going to do something with Gable when he comes back with the Grande stuff. But man, I don't know. Like they've even gotten rid of fucking what are they called? The Creed brothers and Ivy Nile. Like where have they been? Mm-hmm. They're not even associated with El Grande anymore. And I think he got like a new outfit. Like I don't even know if it says American Made on his. I could be wrong about this, but it wouldn't shock me if they got rid of the American Made branding on his mask.
Could be. He got a new theme music.
He did, yeah. So. Yeah, they've gone in a direction that it is completely and totally freaking it is working. What is this? This is from September 3rd. Yeah, the mask that he was wearing here it just says El Grande on the on the mask. It doesn't because didn't it used to say American? No, did it used to say American Made? No, it didn't. You're right.
No.
I mean now, yeah, his new mask, he's got like it's Mexican colors. One of the masks he was wearing. I know they said he got a new outfit somewhere. Yeah, dude. I don't know. I don't know that we're gonna. Yeah, for Sunday night's AAA Alianza's taping, he's not wearing red, white, and blue.
Interesting.
It's red, white, and green. Yeah. Now that dude is fucking running with it.
He is. He really is.
Let's see here. Jonathan Vieira, what would evil clones of Steve Larson call their podcast?
What would the podcast be? Would it just be like, I feel like, would it be exclusively an NXT show?
Maybe. Is there a euphemism for safe sex?
Oh yeah, I'm sure there is.
Well, I know there is. I'm just trying to think of one. Like wrap it up.
Yeah.
The Wrap It Up podcast. It's not really wrestling related, though.
Well, I mean, like you could, when you're kind of doing the collar and elbow tie up. Isn't that kind of?
I know there's something that we're missing.
Yeah.
Lord Blake Whitehouse has a good question. It's time to assess the importance of the World Heavyweight Championship, Larson. Is it finally on the same level of importance as Cody's title?
It's getting there.
Is Cena Brock going to main event WrestlePalooza?
I think so.
That is, huh?
I think so.
So that's hard to tell. If Cody Drew does happen, I know like the world title isn't on the line, but okay, let me ask you this question. Brock Cena, whatever reason, is not on WrestlePalooza. You got Cody Drew, you got this tag match. What main events?
My gut would say Cody Drew.
Really?
I wouldn't have been shocked if the tag match main evented.
My gut says the tag. Kind of overwhelmingly. I mean, like, we don't even know if Cody Drew is going to happen there.
Yeah.
Like, they're just not, he's been gone forever. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's right now being presented as the A story. I mean, Cody's like not even...
Yeah, he's
not even around to be the A story.
But that could be the thing, is they want to reestablish Cody as top guy. Therefore, he has to main event.
I will say this. It's definitely miles ahead of where it ever was before now.
Yeah.
So I would say all things sort of being equal, if you put CM Punk versus Seth Rollins on a pay-per-view for this title, and you have Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre for the other title on a pay-per-view, I don't know if it's a
I feel like Seth versus
Seth Punk, right? Yeah.
All right, you got one more over there?
We already sort of talked about that. Starman Stu says, how do you guys feel about where Bronson Reed is right now? I'm surprised they gave him a win at all with how lost in the shuffle of everything he's been. Seems like he's probably going to get the short end of the vision stick. Everybody thinks that. Because Braun Breaker is so obviously like their plan for the future. Mm-hmm. But I like what they've been doing with Bronson Reed.
Yeah, I mean, Bronson actually has a little more dimension to him. Let's say that Braun doesn't. But, I feel like once they started doing the tribal thief stuff with Bronson stealing Roman's shoes, it just added a little charm to his character.
It does. Yeah, no. And when he says acknowledge me, he's getting a lot of booze. That's the reaction you want,
Yeah. He's a phenomenal wrestler, and I was kind of surprised he won last night. But at the same time, he can't lose all the time. He needs some relatively high-profile wins to make him a legitimate threat.
Yeah.
It can't just always be, he loses, gets his heat back after that.
Yeah, I agree.
He needs to get some W's.
I definitely agree. Yeah. All right. Anyways, that's going to do it for the show today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Tomorrow we got our Hot Takes episode. Be sure to tune in for that. Until next time, we'll see you guys around.
Goodbye.